Now let's listen to Mitt Romney. This is October 25, 1994. Mitt Romney, who hadn't done a damn thing to get Ronald Reagan elected, hadn't done a damn thing to promote conservatism, or even the Republican Party for that matter. He prides himself on it. He was outside of the system. Good for him. Cut 2, go.
Look, I was an independent during the time of Reagan-Bush. I'm not trying to return to Reagan-Bush. My positions don't talk about things that you suggest they talk about. This isn't a political issue.
No, this isn't the political issue. That's 1994. He was an independent. You know what is irking me? You know what is frustrating me as a conservative, a Reaganite, a Tea Party conservative, a Reagan revolutionary? This guy was an independent. You'll hear him later where he talks in 2002 that he's a progressive. Attacking Gingrich from the right about the 1990s. This is a laugh. This is hilarious. This guy was an independent progressive as late as 2002, telling us that Gingrich was not a conservative when he was Speaker, and that he was trashing Reagan, and Reagan didn't like him. Well, he's up in Massachusetts, distancing himself as much as possible from Reagan, Bush, Republicanism, and conservatism. That is what is unbelievable about this. Now we have cut 3, Romney in the 2002 campaigning for governor. Campaigning for governor, 2002. Keep in mind, 6 years later, he ran for president in the Republican side trying to get the nomination. Just 6 years later. Cut 3, go.
I think the old, standby definitions of who votes for which party have been blown away in this campaign. I think people recognize that I'm not a partisan Republican, that I'm someone who is moderate, and that my views are progressive, and that I'm going to go to work for our senior citizens, for people who've been left behind by urban schools that are not doing the right job, and so they're going to vote for me regardless of the party label.
I'm a moderate. My views are very progressive. Does this sound like a guy who's going to get rid of Obamacare? A guy who created Romneycare? And while I'm at it, why don't we dip into the Ron Paul audio file? Ron Paul, who's running slimeball commercials attacking every conservative, claiming he's the Reaganite in the race. Really? This is just 2007. A little over 4 years ago in December. Tim Russert and Ron Paul. Cut 4, go.
And yet, you divorced yourself from Ronald Reagan. You said this: although he was once an ardent supporter of President Reagan, Paul now speaks of him as a traitor, leading the country in the debt and conflicts around the world. I want to totally disassociate myself from the Reagan administration. And you go on to the Dallas Morning News. Paul now calls Reagan a dramatic failure.
Well, I'll bet you any money I didn't use the word traitor. I bet you that's somebody else, so I think that's misleading. But a failure, yes. In many ways, the government didn't shrink. Ultimately,
let's stop right there. Is this guy Mr. Constitution? Well, let me tell the genius who's Mr. Constitution. We have 3 branches of government. The spending bills and tax bills come out of the House. This is the genius. The House was never Republican when Ronald Reagan was president, and he had a lot of weak-kneed Republicans in the Senate. The president is not a dictator. He can't cut spending on his own. He can't eliminate departments on his own. And he tried. He tried to eliminate the Department of Education. Congress blocked him, including Republicans. And he shut down the federal government not once, not twice, but 3 times. He created a platform for future presidents to follow. I'll be right back.